Hello everyone, this is Yoko. On this channel, I'll be sharing information in English that I've gathered myself because events occurring in China aren't being communicated to other countries. I gather information from multiple media sources, so I'd be delighted to receive your comments on the video content. If you enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel and show your support. Today, I'd like to discuss a rather serious situation that is quite different from what was expected. The event occurred in a specific area within Guizhou City, China, an area with densely packed buildings. Along the roads in this area, a certain shop opened last August. The title of one article is a robot restaurant with no customers even with free food a failure? This article, from last December, discusses the fate of a noodle shop that relied entirely on robots. This shop, which opened in August last year, promoted itself as a fully automated restaurant serving noodle-like dishes. It talks about the developments up until December. Let me introduce that part. Despite opening in August, it had already closed by December. Why is this story drawing attention? It seems it's not just a problem in China. Over the past few years, there has been a trend of introducing robots into the food and beverage industry. It's been a trend for a while. It's believed that not just partial introduction of machines but full automation is the future of the food and beverage industry. Restaurants that advertise this aspect have been attracting attention, but it seems they are not successful. Contrary to expectations, they have attracted attention. By the way, this shop had both cooking and service handled by robots. Hearing that, I'm sure you're curious about what kind of shop it was, right? Despite seeming to be popular, surprisingly, not many customers came from the beginning. Typically, when a restaurant opens, even if the food isn't very delicious, quite a few customers visit initially. However, in the case of this shop, it seems the start was not very promising. In Japan, when offering dishes similar to ramen, the number of customers peaks during lunchtime. However, even during peak hours, only about 1/3 of the seats in the restaurant were occupied. Therefore, the shop believed it was in a tough situation from the beginning. They tried various campaigns. For example, in the age of social media, there's a marketing strategy where they collaborate with people with many followers, known as influencers, inviting them to the shop and having them post photos on social media. They also ran promotions where ordering one bowl of noodles would get you another for free. This is a common tactic in China. Offering the second bowl for free is supposed to encourage people to invite friends to come together. However, it still didn't work. Next, they tried lowering the prices. Initially, they lowered the price to 14.9 yuan, which is approximately 3,000 yen in Japanese yen. In China, dining at a decent restaurant today might cost around this price, so it's not necessarily cheap. However, because of significant price variations across regions, it's difficult to say how this price change was perceived in Guizhou. Despite this price reduction, it seems there was no effect. Finally, as mentioned in the title of the article, they ran a campaign simply inviting people to come and eat for free. However, even with the offer of free food, customers did not come. At this point, it's not just unexpected but also incomprehensible. In Japan, if something is offered for free, there would typically be long lines regardless of the circumstances. However, it seems the level of dissatisfaction with the food wasn't that high. By the way, the products at this shop are like this, with tomatoes as a topping. This aspect may be slightly different from the Japanese sense. However, even if it were free, it would attract quite a few customers, but even during peak hours, only a few people came. Therefore, they couldn't do anything more, and even though they said they would pay if they ate, there was no such business, so they eventually had to close the shop. By the way, the voices of customers who ate noodles at this shop are posted online, and by looking at them, you might find hints as to why this shop failed. However, first of all, the evaluations of the dishes are completely different. Despite being made by robots, you might think the quality is consistent. However, one customer writes that the noodles are too hard, while another says they are too soft. Therefore, despite being made by machines, it seems the quality is not consistent. Why did this happen? Noodles are made from wheat flour, right? You need to adjust the amount of water depending on the humidity and temperature of the day. However, with machines, they probably make the same amount each time, so they can't adjust based on the temperature and humidity of the day. Therefore, whether it's a hot day, a cold day, a rainy day, or a dry day, they are made in the same ratio, and sometimes the noodles are too hard or too soft. So, unless you can make such adjustments, you can't beat humans. And even in Japan, when deciding which shop to go to, you check the reputation on your smartphone, right? If the reputation of the shop's noodles deteriorates, as it rapidly spreads like in China, it becomes a problem. This is the same in Japan. When making noodles with machines, at the current level, they may not be able to beat humans. Furthermore, at this shop, although robots are in charge of serving, when customers visit to see the full automation, despite there being serving robots, they only bring them to the table, and then employees come and set them up on the table. Therefore, there is no point in introducing machines, and some even say it would be better for humans to do it from the beginning. By the way, the noodles at this shop are made by machines, but the toppings are done by employees. Now, shifting gears to a topic from the United States, there's a company that started a new business model of making pizzas with machines. The company's name is pronounced similar to Zoom. They raised $500 million to start this venture but ended up bankrupt. This garnered significant attention in China back in June of last year. In China, automation in the food and beverage industry has been a point of interest, and the failure of a company that raised $500 million in the U.S. stirred quite a controversy. There are various analyses regarding this, but one of the things mentioned is that the company automated the manufacturing of pizzas. However, the most time-consuming process in making pizzas is the toppings. While this company had machines make the pizza, the toppings were done by employees. And the quality of the pizza is a crucial process that determines its overall quality. Humans are better at this than machines, and there aren't many advantages to automation because the cost doesn't decrease significantly. Regarding the bankruptcy of the Chinese company I mentioned earlier, while the noodles were made by machines, the current machines couldn't adjust, so they were only delicious when the weather and temperature were perfect. Therefore, there aren't many advantages to automation, and in fact, there are significant drawbacks. This is almost the same as the case of failed fully automated pizza in the US. Furthermore, in China's case, despite having a very high quality control rate, the cost of introducing robots is higher than labor costs, unlike conditions in Japan or the US where automation or mechanization brings benefits. There is a shortage of labor and high labor costs. However, in China, introducing robots was touted, and people gathered to see them, but ultimately, it didn't work out. In my opinion, automation or mechanization may only apply to certain types of businesses in the food and beverage industry. For example, places like McDonald's will continue to be automated. However, from the customer's perspective, everything being made by machines is not necessarily a selling point. The human touch is very subtle and adjusted according to the season and the weather of the day. Even experts and customers may feel these subtle differences without consciously being aware of them. Uniform products made by machines may become boring quickly. In Japan, there are still many areas where traditional methods are adhered to, but there are also many administrative procedures that can be automated or mechanized. By eliminating those tasks, a job that used to require 10 people can now be done by 5 people, so I think it's time to stop clinging to old ways and focus on making things easier for everyone. That's all for this time. See you next time.